Today we're going to convert a 4-foot 3 fluorescent light fitting to use LED tubes. The fitting originally comes out with an electronic ballast, and that is the control circuit for the normal fluorescent lights. LED tubes do not need any control circuits as it's already built into the tube itself. Here we've got the LED tube. Now how the LEDs work is they've got the two ends on this side and exactly the same on this side, just so that it can stay inside the original fitting, it doesn't fall out. But the other two pins doesn't do anything. Only one of the sides is connected to power, and they are usually marked. Here's the input. On the other side there's going to be nothing. It's just going to be there to hold the tube in place. So what we need to do is we need to connect on one side 3 of these fittings together in parallel, and then get a point where we can connect the power. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to try and draw you a schematic on what we're going to do, and then you will understand better. Now how we're going to do the connections is we've got a light with 2 points, and in this instance we've got 3 lights, so we've got 6 points to connect. Now to connect these in parallel, you need to connect them in parallel, it's not going to work in series. You need to take the one side and connect it to the same side of the one light, and then that same wire we're going to connect to the other side. Now the other points we're going to do exactly the same. This is going to go to here, and this is going to go to here. Then we can extend this point here, extend this point here. We're going to put our live on the one and our neutral on the other, and then it will work. The other side of the lights, you don't do anything on it. You don't need to change it or do anything. You can actually, this light fitting that I've got here that's already wired, we're just going to cut those wires off, so there's no chance of anything being connected to that side. So now we first need to remove the wires from the ballast. Most electronic ballasts has these push-in connectors. What you can do is you can either use the same wire that is pushed in, and as you can see there's a little hole on the top of the connection. You can push that part in there to connect, or what I just usually use, I use a small pin. I push it in the top there, push it in the top of the one hole and push it down, and that releases the cable to come out. Next one, fastened, push it in, and they're just out. Because we want to use this ballast again, we can sell it off or use it in other lights if somebody doesn't want LEDs. Yeah, exactly the same. Start on the one side, push it down, there you go. So I'm going to release all these, and I'll show you what we're going to do with the connection. Yeah, now we've got our ballast removed. I can keep this aside because you can use it again if you need to. To remove the ballast completely, I took out these little nuts and bolts. I'm going to use them again because this whole fitting needs to be earthed. So I take the original earth wire, and just close to by the side I'm going to do my connections, there is small holes there already. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to push this in from the bottom. Push it in from the bottom. Put the earth wire on here. Now it's too cold. The wire is a bit stiff. And then just fasten it on there. Now it is earthed again. We're just going to connect this to the earth. Okay, due to the nature of the connections on the electronic ballast, Most electronic ballast has a little schematic on it that shows you how it should be connected. Now, if we see on this side, some of these are already connected to each other, and this side not. So we're going to see if we can find this side on the fitting itself, because then we're going to have a lot less to do. And this is the side we are at now. We can see here this top wire goes on somewhere. We can check where it goes. Let's just remove these little cable management clips. Okay, take it off, and it went straight to the ballast. The bottom wire is already connected to the bottom of this one. Then it goes on and gets connected to the bottom of that one, and then it goes on to a long piece of wire. So we know the one side of our connection is already done. All we need to do is we need to take the top of this one and put it in with this one, the top of this one, then the top of this one, put it in with the top of this one, and then we've got the other side of our connections. So these fittings normally have two connection points on each side. So the only thing we need to do is this wire coming from the top, just measure it off there, cut it the correct length, strip the wire off, and then we just push it in on the other side. There you go. Done. We'll do the same with this one. We go on, cut it correct length, strip the wire, take it around, and push it in on that side. Can't really see what I'm doing there. There we go. Now I've got this wire, and this wire is a live and neutral. This green wire is our earth. All the rest of the other wires, all these, that one, all those on that side, we're just going to remove them. On the other side, I'm just going to cut them short, and then we're done. I'll show you the connection when I'm done on the other side. Okay, just for testing purposes, I connected this to a connector block. The one side is our neutral, our earth comes into the middle, the other side is a live. I got it at a normal plug, so we're going to check if it works. I'm going to put the LED tube in. Remember, this is the side where the power is, so we need to use the side that says input. It needs to come on this side. So I'm going to put it in. Lock it, and then we're going to switch it on. There you go. Remember, LEDs doesn't have any startup time, they are on immediately. Now we can check if one of the other work. Let's see on the second point. Okay, turn it. There you go. Now to test the last one. There you go. Excellent. That's all for the connection. What I'm going to do now is just going to get this fitting ready to be able to be installed. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to drill a 20mm hole saw hole on this side. I'm going to put a gland in, and then I'm going to put my cable in that connects the fitting to the plugs inside the ceiling. I'll show you step by step. So we turn the fitting around. Now we're going to use a 20mm hole saw to drill a hole in here. There you go. Our 20mm hole. We've got our 20mm PVC gland here. This is just a restraint for the cable so that if there's pulling on the cable, it doesn't disconnect inside. So this one goes into the hole there, and then on the other side we just fasten this nut. There we are on the other side again. So we just push the gland through from there and then use the lock nut. To fasten it there. Okay, we've got these already made up leads with a 5 amp plug on the side, because there's 5 amp sockets inside the ceiling that this plugs into for easy connection. We're going to take the other side of the cable and push it through the gland. There we go. Through the gland. Now what the gland does, it's got two purposes. First of all, it protects the cable from our hole that we made in the metal so that it can't cut the cable, and also it restrains the cable in place so that if somebody or anything pulls on the cable on the other side, that it doesn't pull out. So if I fasten this, there's a rubber inside that closes around the cable, and it locks the cable there so that the cable can't be pulled out from either side. Now, because this is going to be a permanent installation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder these wires to these ones, and I'm going to use crimping sleeve to insulate the cables or my connections. So I'm going to do one and I'll show you. Okay, I've already done the earth. Let me show you quickly. Do the live now. So we cut the cable short. Strip it open. We're going to put some soldering on the one side. And then we're going to put soldering on the live side. Now remember, before you solder them together, get your piece of shrinking tube, cut it the correct length, put it over the cable, and then we just solder these two together. When the connection is made and it is cold, because you don't want to push the crimping sleeve over while it's hot, because it will crimp as soon as it gets in touch with the hot part and you won't be able to put it over all the way. So we slide it over so the connection is in the middle. We heat it up. There you go. Nicely soldered and insulated. Now we're just going to do the same with the neutral. Okay, now we can use these little cable management thingies just to get these cables neat again. There you go. Now I'm going to put 3 tubes in. I already made up a mock testing lead. So these 5 amp plugs are going to come into these 5 amp unswitched sockets like this. So I'm going to put 3 tubes in and we'll see what happens when I plug it in. Okay, I've got all 3 tubes in. Obviously all of them on this side is the input side. I'll plug it in and switch it on. There you go. Bob's your uncle. I'm going to do the rest now. Thanks for watching.